So hi everyone, in the video this time I'm doing the type T-34. The type T-34 is a tier 5 Chinese medium tank. The good thing about this tank is, well, not a lot, because personally I don't like the tank, but I know how to drive it. Since the last 10 battles I played before, I have no clue how to drive this tank. This tank is pretty difficult to drive, and I've seen lots of people doing bad in it, because this is a very difficult tank to drive. To get lots of experience though, because that is the problem with this tank. You don't get lots of experience. If you think you did good in a battle, you only earn around 1000 experience, and if you're doing the same amount of hits in a tier 9, you earn around 1700 experience. The XP earnings of this tank is very low. Plus, this engine is 500 horsepower. You need 5000 experience to upgrade this engine. And look at this one is 480 horsepower. Now I know what you're going to say, you use it on the Type 58 also, but look at this. Remember the name, the V234, and look at this, it's stock, you get it for free. So you don't need to upgrade the engine, because it's just another waste of 5000 experience. If you're someone who drives low tiers, 5000 experience is a lot, because you don't earn a lot of experience in low tiers. You earn more if you go in higher tier. Plus, well, I'm going to talk about the gun. You have two different guns. You have the 57 and the 76. The difference between these two guns are, well, the rate of fire, of course. Rate of fire is much better. You shoot every 2.5 seconds, and this one is only every 4 seconds. But of course, the penetration is not that good on this gun. It's only 86 millimeters of penetration. This one is 112 with AP shells. If you're shooting gold shells, you only have 100. That's not a lot at all for premium shells. But if you're shooting gold ones on a 57 millimeter, you have 189 millimeters of penetration. You can almost penetrate everything with this gun. But of course, the average damage on this gun is bigger. You do a bigger punch shooting this gun. This gun, by the way, the 57 millimeters, is almost the same as you use on the T50-2. I mean, let's get it up. Here we go. You see, there's nearly no difference at all. The only difference is that this gun actually reloads faster than the T50-2. Damage is the same, penetration is the same, accuracy is the same. So this gun is actually better than the Scout one. And if you thought that the Scout gun is reloading fast, you have to try the 57 millimeters of the T-34, which is amazing. And the accuracy is much better than the 76 millimeters also. So I think it's worth it. Even though the damage is smaller, I think it's worth to upgrade this gun. Then you have the tracks. Although it says 40 degrees per second, but let's talk about the tank itself and not about the stats. Personally, I don't like the tank. It's a very difficult tank to drive. First of all, you don't earn lots of experience. The armor is poor, the damage is poor. You have a high damage per minute, but you have to be sure to do that damage per minute, because if you are facing KV1, the KV1 shoots you one time, you can shoot him 2 times, and then you have to back off. You can't shoot your whole ammunition on the KV1, because you're going to, well, because you have to back off, because the KV1 can do lots of damage. Plus the armor is poor. Although if you're ending up in max tier, you can bonus some shots of tier 3 and tier 4s if you're lucky, but not from tier 5s. Why? Because it says 45 millimeters of armor frontally, 45 millimeters sidely, and 40 millimeters back on the rear. Sorry. This is just a bonesy tank. You can't penetrate it at all. If you're someone driving a tier 3, don't even try to shoot at the Type T-34, because you're not going to penetrate. You have 2 different kinds of turrets. The second one, of course, is the better, because it has better view range and it turns fast. Plus you can mount 57 millimeters gun. You don't really need a lot of experience to research these 2 things. So you can, if you have a stock of 3800 experience, can mount 76 millimeter immediately without going through the whole line like me. But then, enough talking about this tank. Yeah, by the way, the thing what I don't like about this tank is the matchmaking. The matchmaking is so poor on this tank. The matchmaking trolls you over and over again. It always puts you into tier 7. Never tier 5. I'll probably get top tier. I think if I have a 100% chance, I only get like 30 to 40% chance to get into tier 5. And mostly it's tier 7, not even tier 6. But if you compare it to the E4, my E4, I love this tank, even though it's less fast. It has more armor. Plus I can rely on that armor because this tank has a special matchmaking. It only puts get placed one tier high, and you have 20% chance in this tank to hit tier 6 instead of mostly it's tier 5. That's why I like the E4 so much, because of the matchmaking. But that's why I hate the type T-34. Like if you see at my service record on this type T-34, just a moment, I have a very low average experience because I don't like this tank at all. Well, I do like it now, finally, when I know how to drive it the last 10 battles. So I know how to drive it. I will explain it to you in the battle how to drive this tank effectively. But you see, I only have an average experience of 421. That's not a lot at all, because first of all, this tank doesn't earn lots of experience per battle because of the low damage. But I do have a good win rate in this tank, but that's just lucky because I have one good team after each other. So consumables what you want to use here is well, plus 25% to repair speed could become in handy, but I think plus 10% to aiming speed is much better because this tank is like a French tank. The French tank reload between cartridges, like if you see the AMX50B, this tank reloads between the cartridges every 2 seconds. But the problem is on this gun is that you have a 2 seconds aiming time, and it's just the same as the type T-34, because you don't have a, well, you have an aiming time, but it's bigger than the reload time, so you can't fully aim your gun. So I think it's worth it to buy the plus 10% to aiming speed. Coded optics maybe, but I don't really recommend it. Well, medium caliber tank gun rammer, you don't even bother to put this thing on the tank, because that 0.25 aiming time is not going to help you, I think. Plus 5% to cruise skills, why not? You have an extra speed, extra reload time. I think improved ventilation is a good thing to have, and camouflage net, of course, because it's a medium and it's pretty difficult to spot if you compare it to a heavy tank or something. Then shell setup, what I recommend for you to shoot to have for shell setup is lots of AP shells, because I don't think you're going to shoot gold shells. I hope you're not going to shoot gold shells in tier 5. I have 5 gold shells loaded in the case of emergencies. Why do I have 5 and not 1? Because this tank's damage is poor. And if I want to load gold shells, I want to do full damage. And I don't want to bonus it, because well, the damage is not that high in this gun. Normally I only load 1 or 2 gold shells, depends on the situation. I'm against gold shells, so only 5 and not your whole stock, even though the penetration is not that good. But you can penetrate KV1s on the slow on the non-slow parts. Never could have penetrated it with my E4 because the penetration of this gun is poor, only 86 millimeters of penetration. And then a couple of HE shells to shoot away buildings, but don't even bother to shoot enemy tanks with HE shells, because the caliber of your gun is only 57 millimeters in diameter. You're not going to do lots of damage. If you're lucky, you can do 5 damage per shot to KV1. Don't even try to use HE shells. I think quality oil is a good thing also, because this engine is pretty weak, because this is a pretty heavy tank for a tier 5, 32 tons. For a medium tank it's not fast enough for me. I have to do a little break. For a medium tank it's not fast for me. It's well, it says it goes 55, but don't rely on the stats, because mostly it's going about 30 and you lose all your speed if you're turning. You go 50 kilometers per hour straight. If you do one sharp turn to the right, you lose 25 kilometers of your speed. This tank loses its speeds very fast. That's not a good thing. Why? Because of the tracks. Like the Germans have a special thing about the track. If you're going left and right stationary, both of the tracks turns. But in this tank only one track turns and the other one stands still. That's why it loses so much speed. It's pretty difficult to explain. So crew skills, I'm going to get up this crew skills because I don't have the, well, I have the crew, but this is the crew of my previous tank. I've put it on the Type 58. What you want to use here is well, on the Type T-34, not on the Type 58, sorry. I think repairs is a good thing to have, because the repairs, if you don't have repair skills, you have to repair 14 seconds I think, and because the tracks are so sticking out, I mean it's easy to hit the tracks on this tank because the tracks are so exposed. You will be tracked a lot, trust me. But what it doesn't have for a Chinese tank is an ammo rack. All the Chinese tanks are known for the horrible ammo racks, but this one doesn't. I think I never have I've seen that somebody damages my ammo rack in this tank. Brothers and Mars is a good thing to have, so you increase all your crew skills by 20%. Mentor, yes, no. You can choose the boy for yourself, but I always research 6th Sense first. 6th Sense is the thing to have. Not on this tank, but on future tanks also. If you're planning to keep your crew for future tanks, like me. Eagle Eye, maybe, because this tank shoots pretty fast and you can do lots of critical hits if you know where to shoot. Jack of all trades. If you lose one of your crew members, except the driver, it's not a big of a deal. So I think Jack of all trades is a good thing to have. Because if you lose your driver, you're fucked. Because this tank is slow as shit. Believe me. Even though it says 55, don't even try to reach such speed because you're not going to. View range is pretty good, so I think recon. Nah, not really. Not going to put it on a medium tank. Deadeye, because this tank only shoots AP shells, and it shoots at a rapid fire tempo. So I think Deadeye is a good thing to have because you'll wreck your enemy into pieces with AP shells. Armor, this tank is pretty accurate, so I think armor is a good thing. But if you're planning to keep your crew for future tanks, everyone knows that the Russians and especially Chinese are not accurate at all. So I think it's better to use in a repair kit. But if you're planning to keep your crew on this tank, I think it's a handy thing to have armor. Designate the target. No. Oh yeah, and of course, almost forgot. Snapshot. As your second crew skill. You need this. What you need here is clutch braking, because this, even though it says 42 degrees, it's only one track that turns, and it will annoy you. Trust me, it will annoy you. So I think clutch braking is a good thing. Controlled impact, because this tank is pretty heavy. It's 32.5 tons, so not really lots of tanks in tier 5 but weight so much. So controlled impact, go for it, so you can ram those tier 3 and tier 4s to pieces. Off-road driving, well, yes, because if you make a turn you lose all your speed. With off-road driving you will reduce that a little bit. Smooth ride, well, the accuracy on the move is pretty good, so I don't think you need smooth ride. Maybe for future tanks, but it's your choice. Extended signal range, because this tank is a pretty good sniper, so it's standard signal range. By the way, how to use this tank? Don't act like me. I've been used to drive the E4, and the E4 has good armor for tier 5. So what I did is I was a frontline tank, I bounced every single tier 3 and tier 4 tank. But that's not the case with this tank. Try to be inside the tune. Don't be in front and don't be on the back. Well, I think it's good to be on the back because you have good accuracy on this gun. But try to focus the weaker targets, by the way, because of your low damage. Let the big targets do. Let the big targets be destroyed by the big tanks. Don't even try, because with your amount of damage you're not going to finish them off. Try to focus the lower tiers. If you're up into tier 7, I think it's better to be a little bit passive. Don't be aggressive. Be a little bit annoying. It's if you ever played a scout, play the same style as a scout, but don't scout. Support your team a bit by being annoying. Do the do the little damage, but they don't notice. Until you took off 400%, 400 HP of the HP. But let your team do the first punch and then go help him and do a little bit, not a lot, but do a little bit of damage until they notice you and start turning your turrets, and then let your team finish him off. And that's why I recommend relaying also, because you help your team with it also. For the loader, nothing at all, because this gun reloads fast. The only thing I recommend for you is to train now. If you're planning to use this crew on future tanks, use safe storage, because like I said before, the Chinese are known for the horrible ammo racks, and you will be ammo racked a lot of times. If I ammo rack a tank, let's say that it's 70 to 80% Chinese or Russian, you need safe storage. Research it now already, so you don't have the problem later on. So that's it in the garage, and I'll see you in the battle.
It's game time.
Okay, so welcome back. This is the type T-34 in battle. Can't pronounce the name still not properly, but like you see, this is an exact resample of the T-34, the Russian T-34. And here's a little demonstration about the gun depression and about the gun elevation. If you wait a little second, here we go. This is the gun elevation. This is the maximum, so it does have a good gun elevation, like you see here. This is, by the way, one of the 5 only games where I got more than 1000 experience in. So if you turn back, you have an example about the gun depression in just a second. There we go, we have the gun depression. The gun depression is very poor. Like every other Russian tank, it only has 5 degrees gun depression. It's horrible. But you have to take it with you, because, well, everyone says that the Russians are OP. Well, don't have gun depression. Seriously, they don't have. And like you see here, I went 45 kilometers an hour, made one sharp turn, and I lost nearly 25 kilometers of my speed. And like you see here, I went to 0. It's a fast tank if you're driving flat terrain or downhill, but if you go 1 degree up something, you will lose lots of speed. If you turn a little bit, you lose your speed. It's a fast tank, but you lose your speed very fast. And here we have in just a second a little example of how bad the gun depression is. Normally I should not shoot tanks in a turret, but it's the only thing I can hit from him. Plus the M5 doesn't have that many M3, sorry, the M3 doesn't have that many turret armor to bounce my shot. I mean, this gun has pretty good penetration. There we go, a couple of free shots on the M2. Another one, and then my fish, and then my team stole the kill. And here I couldn't kill him because of the gun depression. The gun depression trolled me again. This is, by the way, a very good matchmaking. You will not see it a lot in battles. There we have a T50. The T50 is very stupid because you don't scout like that, but it's a T50. He has to learn to scout.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's gonna be a
But if you have a T50-2 and you still scout like that, sell it. Seriously, I hate people like that. So there we go. This tank is, well, still pretty fast in the water though. There we have another type T-34.
My
And the
balls,
M5
your grace.
Stewart what is shooting at me
Ooh,
has
this
given
kinda
up
hurt.
shooting AP at me and has now started to shoot
Suck it
HE at
down.
me, and he only does around 9 HP damage. Well, there's 82, but that's from the VK
Come get some.
2001D.
Oh, looks like you're
Hit at this
falling
gun mantle.
apart. Oh yeah, there's
You
more
see
where that
this
came
this
from.
this gun just
Say
rips through
hello
it
to
like
my
it's
little
butter.
friend.
This is a very good penetration for AP shells. It's even better with gold shells because you have 189 millimeters of penetration, but the HE shells only have 29 penetration, and they only do 10 more damage, so it's not worth it. So I wanted to see where they hit at me, and they all hit at me in the turret. Well, it was with HE, but still, this tank has poor armor. If artillery is shooting at you, don't be surprised if he is going to
Let's
one-shot you,
rock.
because he did
Oh,
it a
you're
lot of
my
times.
bitch now.
Plus the
Say hello to
HP
my
pool
little
is not that good
friend.
either. 450 is not a lot. I mean, the American normally has to have more HP than the Russians, but my E4 has the same amount of HP. I think if you buff the HP by 50, it's a much better tank to use. So I tracked the
I don't like
M3
the
Lee
ugly
because
off
he
that
doesn't have a
mug.
turret. Well, he has a turret, but he
Down
can't
your
use it.
throat and out your
There was a good
ass.
damage roll, 100.
Fist
There's a
bump
low
this,
damage roll,
douchebag.
and there I finished him
You
off.
can't fight, and you died a virgin.
And then I
That's a
went
tough
down and I
break.
started to cap, and that's the end of the battle because the scumbag just popped up 1 second before the game ended, and we couldn't have a shot of him. So we're going to speed up the spawn because it's just me capping. There we go. If you're watching to your left, you will see the M7 Priest, but it's popping up 1 second before the game ends.
Come get
There we go.
some.
And a dance right here. So that's it, and I'll see you in the garage to have some little bit more talking about this tank. Okay, so before I end this video, I almost forgot to do a little bit of history about this tank. The history of it is that, well, the Chinese army bought the T-34. Nearly all of the Chinese tanks are modifications of other countries. So what they did is, well, they imported it to the Chinese army. They fought the civil war though, but that's not really happened a lot. Like the T-34 itself got exported to lots of countries. Mostly the countries what are don't know the exact word, what are uh, independent of the Soviet Union. That's the word I was searching for. Lots of African countries still use the tank today though, the Type T-34, the modification of it. Even Germany in 1940 used the tank because it was so good. The T-34, not the modification of it. Lots of people in Africa and the Middle East there are still poor countries that are using this tank. Even countries in Europe like Hungary and Poland, Romania are still using this tank today. So it's a pretty famous tank, and it's very good also. But that's it, and I'm going to end this episode. Overall, it's a good tank, but the matchmaking trolls you over and over again. You're going to see lots of tier 7s. Only tier 7s nearly, so that's it. And you can demo question rules, and you can choose a tag for my garage. What do you want to see review next? Place in the comments below, and also try to check out my channel so you know what tanks I've already reviewed. Next week I'm going to do the Jagdtiger. The Jagdtiger is a tier 9 German tank destroyer, and man, I love this tank. In the beginning I didn't love the tank, but if you search of my stats of the last week I played this tank, I have a 73% win rate of this tank. This tank is so amazing. It's very good. I have 1500 efficiency in this tank. This tank is just amazing. On my last week, by the way, because every time I buy a new tank, it's becoming well, it's becoming a tradition to lose the first 10 battles I play with it. So that's it, and I'm Follow, and I'm out. Bye.